Hey there, this is Beck from Breathe and Blend Yoga, and today I wanted to go through Warrior 2 with you. So Warrior 2 is back leg straight, front knee bent like this. So usually we come into a Warrior 2 from a down dog. There's lots of ways to get into it, but often it's coming from a down dog position, and you're told to step the foot forward in between the hands and place the back foot flat, and then lift up into Warrior 2. This is often what's prescribed for this pose, is a heel to heel or heel to arch alignment. Back toes point to the long side of your mat and front toes point to the short end of your mat. Front thigh ultimately becomes parallel to the floor. Okay. When we do this, we often go into and jams into the lower back because our hips are quite tight in the West, generally speaking, and it pulls the pelvis forward. So we also create a little bit of a weird S shape through the spine, and we compensate in lots of different areas to try and keep ourselves upright. So how to do Warrior 2 without compensating and creating more postural problems and pain in the lower back? Let's start that again. We go into down dog, and then we step the foot 3/4 of the way forward. Place your back foot flat, but have a look at your feet and make sure they're hip distance apart so the back foot doesn't cross over behind you. And then lift up into Warrior 2. You don't get that much of a deeper knee bend as before, but the lower back feels more comfortable. And I'll break this one down for you here. So when we start with the hips, the traditional pose is taught traditionally that your hips are perfectly level to the long side of your mat. And if we try and do this, give it a shot, try and do it, it usually makes the front knee roll in because the hips aren't that open or flexible. So to adjust that, a lot of the time you're told to lift the arch of the front foot, and that does roll the knee into its alignment, lining up with the 3 middle toes. However, if we do that, it stresses the plantar fascia of the foot, and it also means that we're not addressing the problem from its origin, which is the pelvis. So if we turn this back hip in slightly, you'll notice that your front knee will correct itself. So in your Warrior 2, you need to be able to move your hips up and down and forward and back so that you can get your pelvis level to the floor, so there's no spinal compensation, your spine is nice and straight. And then you can tuck your bottom under so that you're not going into a back bend and crunching and jamming into the lower back. In doing that, you not only get a really great stretch through the hips, you tone the lower belly and strengthen and tone the glutes as well. Now, after doing this turn of the hips and the tuck, if you feel any discomfort through the back knee, just bring your foot away from you a little bit more. Some people, if you're really tight in the hips, you'll need to have a wide stance. We are in a warrior pose here, so you want to be ready to fight. You're not balancing on a tightrope here. So turning the back toes in also means that your hip can turn more, which means your front knee will be in more alignment. So the tighter you are, the more this back hip will need to turn in, and the more the back toes will need to turn in. If you're the opposite and you're quite flexible and you can point your toes straight and your hips are level with the long side, then just turning this back hip in a wee bit will also give you a good stretch anyway, even if you can still tuck and level in that position. So scrap the heel to heel alignment, scrap the heel to arch alignment, and go by your pelvis and how open you are in your pelvis. I'll show you on the other side. So you should be able to move your hips so that they can hit the floor and tuck under. The tilt of the pelvis makes the spine go all curvy and weird, compensation, and no strength in the belly or the butt. So level and tuck, and you'll notice this back butt cheek will tighten a lot more if you do that. So the other thing I wanted to show you is from the back side. I call this one booty warrior, and I see it a lot when I'm teaching. You see, if you get that heel to heel alignment or heel to arch is more severe than heel to heel. We get this back bending, leaning forward kind of thing. So if you're one of these kind of warriors, heel and toe the back foot in, level the hip, tuck the bottom under. And then you're ready to go. So that way you're not going to experience pain in the lower back or excessive tightness in the hips, because when the hips are pulled this way, it actually tightens these muscles in the hips. It doesn't stretch them. If we can tuck here, it stretches them and strengthens the butt. So really, who cares if you're heel to heel or if you have to have wider feet? If you're parallel to the floor or not, it doesn't matter. It does matter that your back feels comfortable, your knees feel comfortable, and that you're not compensating. You get the strength in the belly, strength through the butt, flexibility through the hips in this position here, as opposed to that. Give it a try. Play around with both, and if you have any questions or comments, just put them in below and see how you go with it. Namaste.